All righty.
Over here, and then they side over here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they broke the pieces over here. Yeah, they
If, yeah, sorry, that doesn't, you get the, might help if I actually like pulled up the agenda, huh?
Very much.
All righty then. All righty, why don't we go ahead and call this meeting to order? Will you please rise and join me in the pledge to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, very nice. Okay, no action was taken in closed session. Also, let the record show that all members are present and accounted for, with the exception of Trustee Devine. And then let's move to the adoption of the agenda. So moved.
second.
Been moved and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. On to communications. We'll start with public comment. This is an opportunity for individuals to address the board on items that are not on the agenda. If you are present, please feel free to come on up to the podium and address the board. If you are watching us online, please feel free to put your comments in the chat section, and we will have someone read those comments aloud. So we'll go ahead and give you a few minutes in the event that there is someone who wishes to comment. Please note that because it's not on the agenda, it's not an agendized item, that we will not be directly addressing the item today. But do know that we do hear you and we'll work to address it as soon as we possibly can. Okay, I don't see anyone commenting in the comments section. So we're going to go ahead and move right along. We have a public hearing, Educator Effectiveness Block Grant Plan. We'll go ahead and we will open that hearing. Did you want to speak to that at all?
Just simply that this is a new grant that became available from the state that does require that we spell out a specific plan for how that funding will be spent. Mm-hmm. And this is the public hearing for the plan that will be put before the board soon.
Okay. So with that, are there anyone with any comments? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
I'll move.
Second. Been moved in second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to reports, we'll start off with the Robla Education Foundation.
I didn't receive anything. No.
Okay. And then we'll move on to Robla Teachers Association, CSEA, and on to the superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. I had the opportunity earlier this week to attend the California Educational Research Association conference. I attended along with a number of other Robla staff members. This is a conference that is for educators focused on data and evaluation and impacting educational practice through research. I'm very proud to say that our own Cindy Lyon conducted a session on formative assessment for English learners that we were able to attend, and I will say she did us very proud, presenting the tool that she and her team of EL support teachers have developed and have been working on for some time here in the Robla School District. It was exciting to not only see an audience from around the state respond to the work that she's been doing, but to get very excited about, just really making some progress in this way with English learners, which is a group too often that does not receive enough attention. So congratulations to Cindy on her success with that. We were really pleased to be there. Today we held a walk with a doc, doc as in doctor, event at the Robla Community Park. This event was held in collaboration with the Health Ed Council. This happens actually every Thursday, this walk at the park with parents, but the doc is not always there, and he was there today. Actually, there were two doctors there today to not only be part of the event, but to answer parents' questions specifically about the vaccine for 5 to 11-year-olds. So parents were invited to write down their questions. It was exciting to see about 30 parents there, and they had really great questions about the vaccine. And the doctors provided both in English. There was an English-speaking doctor and a Spanish-speaking doctor, and they provided great answers to the parents. And then following that, as we do every week, there's a food distribution. So families are given a bag of groceries, lots of fresh produce. I just want to acknowledge Erica Lee, our wellness coordinator, who coordinates this event, and she's instrumental in making this successful. And we think this is particularly important right now to make sure families are educated around the vaccine and the safety around that. So that was a very successful event that happened today. Parent conferences will take place in the Robla School District at our elementary schools next Monday and Tuesday. They've already happened at Robla Preschool. This year we are going back to in-person conferences, although teachers did offer a Zoom option for parents who would be more comfortable in that way. Teachers, as is always the case, will share progress and about each individual child with their parents, and they will discuss the report card for trimester 2. And as always, Robla BCOAs will be providing translation for parents who need it. I'm going to talk about this every opportunity I get, but Robla will be hosting a vaccination clinic at Taylor Street School on December 4th. It's from 10 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock p.m. This will be COVID-19 vaccines and flu shots for anyone ages 5 and up. You can actually get a flu shot if you're younger than 5, but the COVID vaccine is for 5 years old and up. And if you need a booster of your COVID vaccination, you can get that there as well. We are working to make sure our parents get all of this information. We talked about it today at the event with the walk with the doc. And we will be sending out flyers to teachers to give out at parent conferencing. We'll be doing messages and emails to make sure everybody knows that this is happening. It is free. And you do need to pre-register, although I understand they will take a walk-ups as well.
Mr. Reyes, which boosters will be available?
This is all Pfizer.
All Pfizer.
Only Pfizer shots. But that means, anybody can get the Pfizer booster. Okay, the Strings Project is going gangbusters this year. Again, Mrs. Lyon. This is the biggest group we've maybe ever had, Cindy? Yeah. Almost 60 students are participating in strings. So whatever magic Cindy is weaving is working very successfully. I know that she's been swimming in violins and cellos and half sizes and quarter sizes and making sure that our students have access to the appropriate instrument. And Shelley Baumhofer gets a lot of credit for that as well.
It's a nice flyer, too.
And this is a lovely flyer that was created to make sure that we let everybody know that the Strings Project Winter Concert, some of us have lots of fond memories about attending this event in the past, on Monday, December 13th at CSUS at 6. Doors open at 6:30 and the concert starts at 7. I didn't do this at our last meeting last week, but I think it's very important to acknowledge the student artwork that so beautifully now graces this room. Thank you, of course, to the students who created this artwork. There's also more in the lobby if you haven't noticed that. And thank you especially to our art teachers who not only lead the students through our great art program, but they were responsible for all coming in and hanging the artwork as well. And my last thing is just to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And that's my report.
Thank you so much. Now we'll move on to board member reports. Trustee Cardona. Trustee Barnes.
I had the opportunity to attend the labor management breakfast this morning here in the boardroom, and I had a wonderful time. And I encourage other board members to, if they can, attend the next one. It is very, very early; starts at 7 o'clock, so get your sleep. But it was a wonderful event, and I look forward to the next one. That's my report.
Trustee Barnes. I just said Trustee Barnes. Trustee Boyd.
Yes, thank you. And I'm glad you made it. I made Trustee Vivian. I made the last one, and it really is something. I wasn't able to do it this week, but I'm glad you were there. I had the pleasure of chaperoning a couple of first grade classes to Fiery Junior Farms over in West Sac a few weeks ago. It was an eye opener for myself to see it over there, and I want to say. And forgive me if I pronounced her name, but Mrs. Young's class
From Taylor Street?
from Taylor
Zong.
Street. What I just can't say enough about that class. Those kids, they were so great. And I was just talking to Mrs. Earhart. I would guess that they probably all came through the preschool kindergarten program, just the way that they were so well behaved. And it was a lot of fun. And again, thanks to Erica Lee for putting this on. She's dynamite as far as nutrition in this district. I accidentally had the opportunity to attend the Autumn Festival over at Glenwood. I was on my way to Viva Market when I saw that it was going on, and went to Viva, hurried home, put on my makeshift costume, and come back, and I just happened to have a big bag of candy in the car, so I had a lot of fun doing that. And lastly, I'm kind of toot my own horn a little bit here too, but I've been working with Ms. Gerard since last school year. Our Rotary Club, one of our members has an UPS store in Elk Grove, and Toys for Tots has worked with UPS. Instead of toys, they gathered donations, and UPS would match the money, and they purchased books to distribute to schools. And so this member of ours had over 2,000 and some books, and I've been talking to Mrs. Gerard about it. And I was able to deliver yesterday books for each one of her students to be able to take home. Unfortunately, I think I missed for Thanksgiving vacation, but they're all going to get books. And I just want to say thanks to my Rotary Club for making this possible. And that's all I have.
And I have nothing to report. So we'll now move on to presentations and information. We'll start with our facilities update.
It appears our CFW person is not here yet. If we could maybe take that out of order, I'm sure he will be here soon.
I'm sure we can do that.
Okay.
Without objection. Move on to New Hope Charter School update.
And Mr. Pagani is here. Welcome.
Thank you. It's always a blessing and pleasure to be here with you, board. So, superintendent and our staff. So this is my update, and let's, Ms. Lyon, with the inspired by the strings program, we've been doing some work at New Hope Charter School as well, with violin and guitar and piano. So just wanted to introduce some of the pictures that you'll be seeing. But I always start with this because this is how we built this relationship and this trust amongst our board, as well as our staff and now families in our community. And so we continue that work. So speaking of continuing the work, we now have classroom buildings slowly but surely that are being put in place. So we have 10 portable classrooms that are being installed. 2 of our portable bathroom buildings are also in that process. And so our timeline is, getting close to completion. The week after Thanksgiving is a possibility for us to be able to start moving in. So, and potentially maybe even sooner than that. So we will keep our fingers crossed and just continue to pray that we don't have any more rain over the next few days, so we don't have any more delays. But this is exciting, and our teachers, our staff, our parents, students, as they come by for after-school program, or we're getting some excitement going when they actually now are seeing the physical buildings there. Our enrollment is at 139, so we've dipped a little bit. When I was here last, it was October 7th. Our enrollment was 145. We've had a couple of families that moved out of state, actually. But for the most part, we expect some attrition, some movement, but for the most part, through when we announced that there was a delay in opening our facility, we were at 145. And so we've been able to maintain our enrollment. And again, it goes back to those relationships. Our average daily attendance continues to be strong at 96%, but we're hoping that we can boost that as we move to in-person instruction soon. This picture is actually one of our teachers. This is Ms. Bermudez, our Spanish teacher. And this, all of our learning, as I'll talk about, is happening in the mornings online. But our teachers are coming to the after-school program and providing tutoring for our students as well. So, and then just in terms of our schedule, what have we been doing over the last few weeks since we came back from the fall break? We've continued with our independent study program from 8:15 to 1:30, providing core instruction, including Spanish for students. And then in the afternoon, we have the after-school arts program, enrichment, as well as sports. So you actually see some of our students playing basketball in a local league. So we've been able to do that and provide soccer. Both of those sports our students have been engaging in very enthusiastically. And then in between this, once again, we're just doing culture building. We're just continuing to put in the multi-tiered systems of support, our PBIS programs, just basically mirroring and just building upon the best practices of Robla School District in these areas to build the culture that we want at our middle school. But we've also continued practices like home visits and service. I mentioned teacher-led tutoring. That happens every day, typically from 2 to 4 p.m. Our teachers will provide instruction online through the independent study program. And then that's some of our teachers on the left in our library, as you can see. We've had to be very creative with space, and we're grateful for the library at Glenwood, but it is a multi-use facility. And so we have students and teachers in there after school. On the right is a couple of our students you see in the picture. This is a very important development, and it's actually been student-led. So this particular student is a Glenwood alum, and her name is Island. She is the one who is really spearheading our tutoring in art as well as in reading for our Glenwood students. So our 7th grade students are tutoring our Glenwood students 3 times a week currently. So that's an important part of our relationship with the Robla community, is providing service. And we have students, again, we have about 30 to 40 students who come to our after school program. And most of them are voluntarily also providing some sort of service at Glenwood Elementary for the younger students there. Okay, so I will pause and open it up for questions and discussion.
Any questions?
I assume the part with SMUD got resolved?
Yes and no. Trustee White. Yes and no. We did, but we had to come up with a workaround. And so we have temporary power for the next couple of months. And so pretty much we have everything ready to go. And we're just waiting on SMUD to bring their switch gear and build the transformer. And we're ready to plug in. But we have a solution that will carry us through until SMUD comes.
I can imagine how everybody's feeling because every time I go by and I've seen those buildings go up, I'm just elated too. And
Yeah.
I just want to comment too on some of these pictures here. You know, we see these masks, but on the schedule picture there,
Yes.
our young scholar there showing up at work, he won the mask. You can see the pride and the joy in her eyes too. And I recognize some of my old friends too in these pictures. It's good to see.
Very good. Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments? Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll now move on to Teacher Professional Growth Project.
We can go back to
Oh.
the facilities report if you.
Very stumpy.
If you
Didn't
like.
even see you walk in. You're up. Facilities report.
Welcome, Mr. Hickey.
Thank you. And let me first apologize to the board. Some of you may know that we had a colleague within CFW who lost a child this week. So we have scrambled to cover the entire state. I ran from one meeting to try to make this one on time. I apologize for being a few minutes late.
No apologies necessary.
This is our monthly update to the board concerning the projects. Let me first start with just a combination of projects that we're doing in the district on behalf of our Robla School District, Robla Elementary School, Bell Avenue, Glenwood. The month of December is going to be extremely busy. And we have a team that's working a transitional plan. We're working diligently with the superintendent to put that plan together. There's a lot of moving parts. Between those three schools, we'll be occupying new facilities at Glenwood, Bell Avenue, and Robla Elementary School month of December. So when school comes back January the 3rd, students will be coming back to brand new facilities in all three of those schools. It's been a tremendous undertaking, and I commend the district for taking on this task. Normally, this many schools, percentage-wise in the district, is unheard of. But the team effort has been great. The effort has been great from the district, our inspector records, our architects, and our construction team to make all of this work. Okay. This is the first site we'll go over tonight, this Robla Elementary School, just next door. I can remember a few months ago when I took the board members on a tour.
Mm-hmm.
You folks remember what it was then? You know, we've occupied the stick and mortar portion of that building. But since then, 7 modular classrooms and 3 modular kindergarten classrooms have been constructed. And so what you see there to the right is the finished product of the 7 classrooms in their modular buildings. To the left there, you see the foundation that was poured, that they were set on. And this is Bell Avenue. I just walked it today, and the new bathrooms for the existing facilities that was modernized. To the left is what they looked like maybe a month ago. To the right is part of the finished product. They've done a wonderful job in those restrooms. They're complete, but currently what they're going through is called a chlorine test to make sure that everything is installed properly. There's a sealed test for chlorine to make sure that when students start to use those restrooms, there'll be no hazard for chlorine that backs up out of the sewer. So that's a required test when we are bringing students into school district restrooms. And before I forget, for the for the Robla Avenue project, we have a ribbon cutting ceremony scheduled for January the 14th. I know the superintendent knows, but more information will be coming out for that ribbon cutting. But just so that the board can start to put it on your calendar, it will be January the 14th for the ribbon cutting once that campus is complete. Okay. Glenwood. Last week, we brought in 4 modular buildings for the 4 kindergarten classrooms, and this is what they looked like last week. As of today, most of those buildings are completely stuccoed. So if you go by tomorrow, they'll look slightly different than this image. They have been stuccoed, and they're ready to be painted. And it has come with its challenges, as you can imagine, with the rain. We've had some delays with wet conditions. The contractor's done a wonderful job of bringing in dry dirt so the construction could continue, because our goal is still to have students in those classrooms by December 21st, so that teachers can move in, so that the first day of school, the teachers are prepared to come directly in with the students. So we're still on track, despite a few rain delays. Underground utilities and tie-in connections continue to go on. Some of that work is in conjunction to New Hope Charter. So we've been working quite closely with Harinder and his team, and that's been a wonderful experience, as well. So looking ahead, the construction schedule. We'll look at Robla. Continue the interior and exterior finishes. Work for the modular classrooms while completing punch list items for new administration and classroom buildings. And those punch list items are very minor. A nick here and a nick there, but there's nothing major going on. We have had a glitch with the elevator, but Otis seems to have gotten a handle on that. They came out last week and did a final, what we hope to be a final repair. The elevator will remain in full operation. And there it is there, the ribbon cutting ceremony. There it says January 2022, but a date has been established for January the 14th. Bell Avenue, the 2-story classroom and administration buildings are on schedule to be completed and have staff move into the building during the winter break. Those dates have been established with with Geraldo and Mark, and those dates for the moving for the teachers are December 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Modernization of the existing classrooms, as well as the demolition of the existing library and adjacent classrooms to construct the new kindergarten classrooms, will commence. It'll begin right before the winter break, but the main construction will start on phase 2, the beginning of the next year. The new modular classroom buildings for Glenwood are scheduled to reach student occupancy by February, but those rooms actually will be ready in December. Modernization of the existing classrooms and support spaces will commence upon construction completion of the modular classrooms. And we've divided that up into a phase 1, phase 2 of the existing buildings. So the plan is to modernize a group of classrooms. Once that modernization is complete, and we'll modernize the rest of that campus. So when we're done, Glenwood, you'll have a brand new campus there as well. And that's the end of the presentation. Are there any questions from the board?
So the modulars I see over Glenwood is the kindergarten that have just been put in place the last week?
That's correct.
Okay, good, yeah.
That's correct.
And, I just want to comment, going back to the Bell Avenue, the restrooms you showed there.
Yes.
Some people maybe kind of wonder, that's a big deal. But I want to say, talking to students, and I know the board has heard me talk about this too, but I can remember Bell and Robla in particular asking these students what was important to them, and from the young women especially, that restrooms was always coming out right on top, if near the top, if not on top. So I'm sure they're gonna be real happy to see those. So
And they're wonderful. If you get a chance, please take a look. The contractor did a wonderful job in those restrooms.
that's great. That's good to see. Thank you.
Not really. It's not really a part of the projects that we currently are working on, but I think sometime between now and as we start to get closer to wrapping these bigger projects up, part of the facilities update I think I'd like to start to see is, okay, let's take a look at whether it's projects that are still left undone, deferred maintenance projects, things that might be things that are going to be coming up that we're going to need to be addressing, or at least need to start thinking about. Once again, I don't know exactly when the appropriate time to do that. I'm just thinking as we start to get closer to wrapping some of these projects up, I'd like to see some of those discussions as a part of the report as well.
For the president, I think we're there right now because
Excellent.
most of three of these projects are wrapping up quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time to start having that conversation with the superintendent. And once we get approval from the superintendent, we'll definitely make that presentation.
Excellent.
We are right at that point.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you so very much for your report.
Thank you.
All right, now we will move on to Teacher Professional Growth Project.
So as they come forward, I just would like to reintroduce Crystal Saladin and Cheryl Coker. Crystal, as you know, has been our peer facilitator since the Robla Teacher Professional Growth System began. And we are very excited in this new school year to give her a colleague in the name of Cheryl Coker, who is her peer facilitator. And it's good timing on our part, I will say, that with the caseload that we have now, that Mrs. Saladin has a colleague to do this work with. So with that, welcome.
Thank you. Trustees, Superintendent Reyes, thank you. That was very nice. We were going to introduce ourselves. I'll just add that I have been an employee here in the Robla School District for 37 years. I know, that's what I said too. Wow, when I saw that number. And my important point here is that for 32 years of that, I was a classroom teacher. So I feel very grateful that I am able to work with my colleagues and help them grow professionally. And I'll let Cheryl just say a little bit about herself.
Good evening. I'm Cheryl Coker. This is, of course, my first year as a peer facilitator. This is my 23rd year in the Robla School District, so not as many years as her, someday. But for the past 22 years, I've been a classroom teacher, an EL support teacher, as well as an induction mentor. And I'm very excited in this new position to be working with Crystal and helping my colleagues.
And I will echo that I'm very excited to have her also. So the beginning of our presentation was actually a little bit for the benefit of Trustee Devine, because she would be new to finding out about our professional growth system. So if you'll indulge me, I'm going to just take a little history walk here and give some background information, because I'm sure that Trustee Devine will be watching this at a later time. So just really quickly, I will remind you that we started in the spring of 2015 with the formation of our design team, which was a group of professionals here in the Robla School District that felt the passion to reevaluate our evaluation system for our credentialed employees. And so we embarked on this journey together. We were introduced to READ, which is Resourcing Excellence in Education, through UC Davis. And then that following fall, 2015-2016, our professional development focused on the SOAR frames. And then in 2016-17, we actually jumped in to the deep end and began forming our Robla Teacher Professional Growth System. And this is when we really established what our procedures would be, our contract language, and got very detailed and specific with what our expectation was for this program. In 2017, 2018, we then began with 16 very brave volunteers who helped us pilot this. We did a lot of refinement after that first year. We had to look deeply at what our intent was and if we were missing the mark in several places, which we were. And so we did a lot of refinement at that point, and then had a second year of piloting with another 16 volunteers in 2018, 2019. So finally, we were at that moment where we were ready to push our ship into the water and start our first year of full implementation, ready to change the way teachers in Robla were getting their professional growth. As we all know, that was the year that the COVID-19 pandemic began. So mid-year, we had to quickly agree with an MOU and RTA that for that year only, we would allow teachers to complete this cycle with one observation instead of the required two. I'm happy to say that we were able to accomplish that with all but two of the teachers that year that had to then be rolled over into the next year because they had not yet had their first observation. But everyone else was able to complete it that year. And then with 2020, 2021 was our second year of implementation. We again had an MOU because at that point we were doing distant learning. So at that point, the MOU stated that permanent employees could volunteer if they would like to, or roll over into the following year if it was their assigned year. However, probationary employees would, of course, be required. So with this new system, let's see if we can get this to move. Is there a secret?
The right, the arrow to the right.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Now it's working. Thank you. So with this new system, we had to create a new language, and we no longer refer to it as evaluations. We are working on our professional growth as educators. Teacher is referred to as a practitioner. Our evaluators are called facilitators, and the feedback is very evidence-based, and reflections are both by the practitioner and facilitator. And this was really at the heart of what we were trying to create, and I can tell you, being a veteran teacher, that was near and dear to me. It was very important that we create a system where it was a two-way conversation between both parties in order to help the teacher reflect and really focus on the lesson that they had taught. With the implementation of the system, we also, well, that's where we come in. Well, we had peer facilitators as an option for any permanent employees. We have a three-tiered system. Everyone participates in that far left-hand column of the professional growth review cycle, with probationary, temporary, and intern practitioners participating every year until they become permanent. And then permanent employees that have been with Robla between 3 and 9 years will participate every other year, and permanent employees that are 10 years and above will participate every 3 years. We have designed a sort of intervention, if you will, middle level there that we call advisory, where if we have a teacher that is struggling professionally, we can offer them quality supports for 2 30-day cycles to help them move forward with their professional growth. And then, of course, we have the top tier, which would be peer assistance and review, or PAR, which is largely guided by Ed Code. Our multidimensional approach is, I think, what makes our system very unique from other school districts. In this slide, you see 3 job classifications that are all similar in that they are classroom situations with students getting their lesson delivery from an educator. However, we found that we still needed some differentiation at each of these levels. So our biggest group, the classroom teachers and EL specialists, obviously, participate in 2 observations, with the quality of instruction being at the heart of that. Preschool teachers also have two observations. However, instead of focusing on the SOAR frames, those teachers are focusing on the class tool, which is very specific to our preschool. They have one domain that is required, and then they get to choose the second area that they would like to focus on. So they all will focus on instructional supports and then have a choice of one of the other three. Special day class teachers obviously have a unique situation in that it is a special education setting. So we wanted to honor that. They will all focus on their delivery of instruction and then have a particular special ed domain that they would like to focus on. And these 4 specialized assignments are obviously outside of the classroom, but we really felt that we wanted to make sure that everyone was going to have their needs met. So with a lot of research, we were able to create situations for each of these particular assignments that allowed them to have domains tied to their particular assignment. And again, they have one domain that is required and then a choice of a second domain that they would like to focus on. And now I'm going to let Cheryl explain to you what's new for this year.
Besides me, of course.
Yeah.
So, because probationary employees are assigned a site administrator or director as their facilitator. However, permanent employees may choose their facilitator. So these are the different choices that they may make based on their job type. You can see that for most positions, they have a choice of a site administrator or a peer facilitator. Some of the more specialized positions, such as a preschool teacher, can choose from the director of early childhood education, or some of those specialized positions, such as a psychologist, can also choose from the director of special services, and they make their choices. This next graphic is where we are at in rolling into the program with all of our practitioners. You can see we expect to have all of our practitioners rolled into the system by the 24-25 school year. That is 2 years past our original projection date, of course, due to the COVID constraints that we have faced. You can also see the effects of COVID when you look at the numbers of the 2021 school year. We had originally projected 62 practitioners in the program, and that dropped. Those numbers then shifted out and bumped up over the next 2 years. For the 21-22 and then the 22-23 years, those numbers go up. We've project that then they will drop down in 23-24 down to what we presume will be a basic level. Of course, there will always be those variables such as retirements and new hires. There's also what I like to refer to as the ripple effect. When you get the newer practitioners coming in, they go through the cycle more frequently. Older, more experienced teachers go through it less frequently. So there's a different wavelength in their frequencies. This is our current year's caseload. In the first column, you'll see our different facilitators. The next column, you'll see their site or their title. The first column of numbers is their probationary numbers that they are servicing, and you can see a variation amongst the different sites, and there's some concentration there, which kind of bumps up their totals that you'll see in that final column. The column of numbers in the middle are the number of permanent employees that each person is seeing, and you'll see, of course, Krista and I are all permanent. On the next. So as peer facilitators, Crystal and I provide services for both facilitators and for practitioners. Some of the services we're providing for facilitators, we do have a new facilitator this year, and so we're meeting with him weekly to help him navigate the system, the different forms, and to discuss his next steps each week. We also have one facilitator who has a heavy caseload. We worked with him to develop a plan to address those needs of that heavier caseload and to pace it out. We also meet bi-weekly with a facilitator who's in their second year, but it is her first time implementing the growth system in person. As for practitioners, we can help them by adjusting their goals, making sure that they're meeting all the elements of those SOAR frames. We're monitoring all 76 practitioner accounts to ensure that the forms are being completed correctly and according to contract language. can't remember the exact count, but it's over 3,000 forms that we monitor on the system. This year, we also have a unique opportunity in that we have all of the art teachers in review cycle this year, something that probably won't happen again just because of that ripple effect again. So we were able to meet with those teachers during their PLC time to help go through the goal writing process, as well as to help facilitate those professional conversations. We also send out emails throughout the year to both groups, just kind of checking in as to where they need to be in the process, what components they should have completed, and what their next steps are and where they should be focusing their energies. Throughout the year, we also gather feedback as well as at the end of the year. Some of the feedback has led to changes this year. The first change is just some of the titles on some of the forms, just to kind of help clarify their functionality, make it a little bit more user-friendly. We also provided some more simplified kind of an at-a-glance directions for how to use Frontline in the different forms, where each piece needs to go and when. And then this year, we're very excited because we have a number of experienced teachers of those more specialized positions moving through the growth system. And so we're very excited to get their feedback as to the functionality of the different forms, just so that we can continue to improve how they're working, as well as to enhance our practitioners' growth experience. That feedback's really important. And with that, is there any feedback that you have or questions for us?
You know, I'm really impressed with this system. I think, I don't know what other districts do, but I mean, what it says is it's just building on the interest we have for our students to provide them with the best. So is this being welcomed by the majority of the practitioners that it's addressed?
The ones that I've worked with, there is some hesitation as they get going, and the conversations that I've been having so far have been fantastic and wonderful. They've been very growth oriented, and once those doors are open, we're really starting to see some movement in terms of their own reflection on their practice and really becoming more open to that those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a teacher and I never will be, but I just relate this. If I had this kind of guidance in my career, I would certainly welcome it, you know. And I don't know if other districts kind of just thrust, you know, teachers into a system and expect them to do stuff, but I just think that you and this district deserves a lot of credit for putting this in place. So thank you.
Well, I think we are still kind of on the cutting edge of that. I don't know many people that have a system as comprehensive and driven towards really helping teachers grow. That I think a lot of districts are still really at the evaluation point, and just sort of checking off boxes and not really helping teachers grow as professionals. And especially in this climate where we know our teachers are overwhelmed and quite frustrated. You know, my experience this year has been, especially we have quite a few new they're veteran teachers, but they're new to this system. And so they're a little reluctant, thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be a tremendous amount of work. And, you know, overwhelmingly, my practitioners have said to me, oh, okay, this is not so bad. Oh, okay, I like having this conversation with another teacher about my teaching. So I'm confident saying that it's been very well received.
Good, and I can see that too. And knowing you, Crystal, I know you, and I really can't say I know Ms. Coker, but I can see that teachers that know you that's just welcoming that and then quickly breaking through that little ice barrier there. So
I think one of the things would be really helpful. Like I know that you talked about you do the evaluations and you get the feedback and you make adjustments according to that. Getting that feedback, sharing that feedback with us would also be really, really helpful. One, in part, because it helps us to know, you know, in terms of as we're setting overall policy and whatnot, you know, what are some of the challenges that our teachers are facing? And what are some of the solutions that you've helped them to come up with? And what are some of the things that we might be able to do via policy to be able to help them address those as well?
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we have twig science.
Good evening, everyone. Trustee, Superintendent Reyes, and audience members. We're switching gears to science, one of my favorite curricular areas when I was a kid. One of the biggest reasons I loved it so much is because it's so interactive and hands-on. And I think one of the beautiful things about this twig program that I've learned about is that it's just those two things. It's interactive and very, very hands-on. So it's very exciting to talk to you about that. This presentation is really about the implementation that we are doing this school year. As you remember, last year we kind of discussed about what the program entailed, what the components were. Ms. Hunt gave you a long presentation about that and kind of brought you up to speed. I'm going to give you just a little bit of a refresher video, just kind of get you into the components of the TWIG program, and then I'll go on from there with the implementation process that we encountered this school year.
How would you like your students to become time-traveling tour guides and go back millions of years to when the Grand Canyon
was a swamp? Or how about getting them to build a museum of lithology? Or become earthquake engineers? You can do all this and more with twig science. Twig Science has been specially designed to support you in delivering California's next generation science standards. Our unique approach combines engaging storylines with real-world challenges for grades K to 6. Stunning films, captivating interactives, and easy-to-use lab kits will inspire your students to explore phenomena and develop their scientific thinking. Created in partnership with California teachers, Twig Science includes fast-track options for when time is tight. Assessments developed by Stanford University's SCALE team to help your students prepare for the California Science Test. And integrated ELA lessons with a rich library of text assets that meet the Common Core standards. Plus, the award-winning Twig Science Reporter that brings topical science news into your classroom every week. All science content is reviewed and endorsed by Imperial College London, one of the top 10 universities in the world. Whether your preference is for digital or print, the flexible design of Twig Science supports all your classroom needs. The adventure starts here.
I don't know about you, but don't you want to go do some science now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of things that the Teacher Curriculum Institute does during the summer. A group of teachers that kind of guides the curriculum with the modules that were going to be done during science for the life science, earth and space, and physical science. The ones that you see highlighted there are the ones that the teachers are going to work on. One of the things that we focused on was as the modules progressed through the grade levels, we wanted to make sure that they were exposed to different kind of activities. Some of the elements were a little bit redundant, so we made sure that we addressed that as we picked the ones that the teachers were going to work through within their grade levels. So as you can see here, we got K1 and 2, and of course we did that for 3, 4, 5, and 6 as well. Another thing that we did is we gave every grade level an overview. We always kind of guide them throughout the school year on what things they should be working on during what times of the year. There's lots and lots and lots of lessons for science in the TWIG area. Some teachers could do up to 5 lessons a week. We have recommended 2 to 3 a week. There's so many components of curriculum that we have to address throughout a school day, so we felt that that was a reasonable amount. So as you can see, it goes from 7 from August and September to 14 September, October, December to 21 through January through April. So they have a lot of opportunity to do a lot of hands-on science. So the big question is, what does science look like in our teachers and students in their classrooms? I'm going to show you two videos that we created. One is in a second grade class called, the lesson is called Color Stations, where students mixed colors and observed and interpreted the data.
Today in science, we're going to be working as a team. And we know that teamwork makes the who goes to Celine? We teach Selena. When they meet in the middle, something changes on the phone. I see. Yellow. We're noticing. We're going to talk about the markers, the crayons, and the color pencils. Got it? I just put everything together and then all. And I did different one it looks like so you know this is color.
Well, so do I. Okay, our next video is in the fifth grade classroom. They're combining substances, a precursor to mixtures, compounds, and chemical reactions.
Substances before you use materials. What you do in order to figure out what the material is. Take a moment at your table and talk about it. That's really all you do.
So I hope you can see with just a little bit of an update that we are in full implementation, having a good time doing some science with the hands-on and interactive activities. I think the beauty of this is that the kids are having a lot of fun while they're learning, and what else can we ask for? I want to thank Mrs. Schellentrager and Mr. Krongeyer for allowing us to do the videos in their classrooms, and Mr. Waller for being our videographer. Do you have any questions or comments?
Are we going to have a science fair, the contest this year?
With the board members, you guys are going to do that? No. I don't know. We didn't really discuss that, so thanks for putting it on my plate. Yeah, it's great.
Any other questions? Thank you so very much. Excellent presentation.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll now move on to the approval of the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Now moving on to action items, we'll move on to item A, schedule annual organizational meeting for December 15th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item B, adopt resolution approving the intent to submit continued funding application to the CDE to automatically renew the contract to provide child care and development services for 2022-2023 and authorize designated personnel to sign contract documents.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing no one, move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Now we'll move on to item C, approved contract with KYO Applied Behavioral Analysis Therapy Services to support students in need of specialized services.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. I'm just assuming we have a student who's in need of these services and
Kind of a program,
program. Excellent.
numerous students actually.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing no, move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Now move on to board member requests for future agenda items or reports. Trustee Cardona.
I didn't have nothing, any request, but I missed the opportunity to say thank you to Ms. Ta to invite us to the Fairy Ginger Farm with her first grade class, and it was fun to be there. Thank you. The kid was great. Thank you very much.
Trustee Barnes.
None.
Trustee Boyd.
It's not a report or agenda item, but as I was pulling the parking lot tonight, I was just thinking with this money that was just released to the federal addressing charging stations and everything, if we could keep our eyes open to maybe see if we can get some federal help and put some charging stations in our parking lot here as we're going towards electric.
Yes, I was looking for one, but he's not here. We will pass that on.
Thank you.
And I have nothing. So with that, today's meeting is adjourned.
And I don't have to leave early.
There you go. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.